Hi, and thanks for joining us on another episode of Two Guys and a Lot of Wine. I'm Bobby P.
I'm Sandy Holland, filling in for Rocky.
And we are joined by two special guests who will be representing the Norcom Cares auction and wine and beer tasting event in February. And this is your second year that I've had, well, at least this will be the second year for me attending the event. And we have Sheli Flieger, who's actually the coordinator of the event. And we have Mr. Adam Bellward, who's the wine manager at Bottle Stop in Avon.
Thanks for having me.
And we have some wines that are going to be actually at the event. And I remember last year the wines at the event were spot on. I don't think I had one bad wine that whole experience. So I know the Bottle Stop does a great job, Adam. So,
we appreciate that, yeah.
And very excited about what we're going to be tasting tonight. And we'll give you the information on the event just before the end of the show so you can get your books taken care of and sign up and attend that event. So what are we drinking here, Adam? What's our first one? We have a Pinot Gris, the Hugel. What do you know about this one? I'm not that familiar with this one.
So this is a classic expression of Alsatian sort of Pinot Gris. Hugel is kind of a legend in that region. And when we think about grapes that are being produced in that region of the world, this specific producer goes back, I want to say it's to like, the early 1600s. So this is really what kind of is the benchmark of these styles of wines coming out of this region, which is this really nice, refreshing, light, very crisp style of wine, but it's also got complexity to it. And
it does, like the aroma is pretty nice right off the bat. Now we've had Pinot Gris on the show a few times for Alsace. My former co-host Jim was actually in Alsace in France with his wife for about 2 weeks, and he brought back quite a few. But we haven't done a lot of shows on this particular varietal. And from what I remember, though, I think I enjoyed it. So I'm looking forward to taking a sip of this one. Yeah, that's French.
Good.
That's definitely from that region. You can tell in regards to the characteristics of the flavor.
Yeah, it's got great acidity to it. And I will say, this is one of those those things. We put these out here because we're moving into a time of year where I feel like people are kind of starting to get away from these styles of wine. Moving into cooler weather where we're kind of going for bigger, richer meals. I still think there's a place for these wines, especially as like an aperitif, or if we've got some cheeses or something like that. This wine definitely has a place still at the table, especially with the holidays right around the corner.
What do you think, Sheli? Have you had a lot of these varietals before?
I haven't had a lot, but I really enjoy this wine. It's complex. It's delicate, but it does have complexity.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to put it. It is complex, but it does have a delicacy.
Mm-hmm.
The aroma, though, is what you get right off the bat when you sip it.
So fragrant.
And then it's so mellow and soothing on the palate once you take that sip, which is what I really enjoy about particularly French whites, and this is certainly another example of a delicious one.
This is a white that I could drink through the cold weather months.
I agree with you, and I'm not sure what the alcohol content on this. Generally, I think these are about the 12.5s, 13s.
Something around there, yeah.
And I don't think it's overly sweet. A lot of people think this might be a sweet wine. I do not think it's a sweet wine. I think the balance is good enough.
Yeah, I would definitely say that this is this wouldn't be a bone dry wine, but it's definitely a dry wine for sure. But I could see where some people might kind of come off in that sense of perceiving it as sweet. But I think that's just more of the aromatics to it that people their mind goes towards something specific to start to gear them towards sweetness, when it's really it's just really nice, clean, crisp wine.
I could see pairing this with Thai food.
Oh,
yeah, for sure. Yeah,
something spicy. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that'll be a fantastic pairing. Which I think is great that you're kind of thinking in that way, and we sort of try to encourage our our customers, and whenever we're talking about wine, it's like food should always be a part of the conversation, because that's in my opinion what wine is really designed for, and really where it shows best is on a nice meal on the table.
Sheli, do you know how many wine varietals will be on sample in February at the Norcom event? Roughly?
I don't.
Does Adam know the answer to that? Basically, how many wines there will be?
I want to say that we're going to be having approximately, I think maybe five different distributors there. So we bring in different distributors with their portfolio. So we basically target specific distributors with fantastic books of wine, and we are guiding this year for specific regionalities. So kind of covering different parts of the world. So right now we have in front of us we have France, and we have Spain and Chile, the United States and Italy. So each distributor will be showcasing wines from those
So at
those
least probably, I
books.
would say 30 wines probably. Too.
Yeah, I want to say that each one will be having probably, at least 5 to 8 wines per table.
And that's not even counting the beers. I know the beers were pretty popular last year also. So if you have a preference for beer, you'll be able to be satisfied there too.
Absolutely.
So please try the wine.
Yeah, you don't go home thirsty.
There you go.
Right.
So that was delicious. And the price point roughly on this particular one is usually?
I want to say this is just north of $20, maybe like $23,
Yeah.
something like that.
Certainly
yeah.
a fair price for the quality. of
Yeah,
the
for sure,
wines.
absolutely. You're not going to break the bank on this wine by any means, no.
But you're getting a quality wine.
For sure, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was delicious. So thumbs up on this end of the table.
Absolutely.
Sandy?
Absolutely.
too?
Yeah. I'm going to have more of that later.
So number 2 was our old vines, I believe, right? This
This is the Masdanis.
Masdanis.
Yep.
And I don't think I've had this one either.
So I've had this one, but I don't remember anything about it. I just remember that bottle.
It is a very pretty bottle, for
It's-
sure.
yeah.
I'm gonna steal this. A quick little drip there.
Definitely a beautiful little ruby color right there off the bat.
So this is a blend?
This is a
that
blend,
correct?
yep. This is a blend. It's a Grenache-dominated blend. I want to say it's about 50% Grenache, and then it's pulled in with about 30% Merlot and 20% Syrah, which really comes together to make some really beautiful aromatics on the nose. But it's very rich, it's deep, it's very concentrated in aroma.
Well, as fans of the show over the last almost 9 years will know, I've never really had I could say I've had a not great Spanish wine, but I can never say I've had a really bad Spanish wine in all the years I've been doing the show. I find most Spanish wines very good, very easy to drink.
Yeah.
More complex than Italian wines to a certain degree. But this is another example of a really, really good Spanish red.
Yeah, the not so great Spanish wines probably don't make it over to the U.S.
That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true.
But yeah, I agree. I think Spanish wines. I try to continuously, bring people over to Spain. Whenever people come to the store, I kind of say, let's wherever they're trying to pick up a bottle for a specific occasion. I'm saying, hey, let's go on a journey. Let's go to a certain part of the world maybe you haven't been to, or we're not going to leave the store, but we're going to take you somewhere you haven't been to, and you're going to explore something and try something that's going to be foreign to you in every sense of the word. But I'm sure it's going to show very well, just depending upon what you're looking for. And Spain can really cover all of its bases, from some really crisp wines to really big, bold, rich flavored wines. And although I don't think that this is like very huge on the scale of big, bold richness, this does have some great complexity to it. Awesome mouthfeel. I think it's a fantastic wine.
It's a
from us.
fantastic mouthfeel, and I really get the vanilla in there. I know that's
Yeah.
hopefully one
Yeah.
of the taste notes, but it's a very, very easy to drink red. And it's one of those reds, in my opinion, sure, it would go great with lots of food, but I can drink that on its own. Just
Couch
For
wine?
sure, yeah.
Couch
wine.
Couch, couch wine. That's the word that I've heard adopted in the
That's
store.
what
Yeah,
we-
you guys
we
have that,
say.
yeah, couch
I'm gonna
wine.
use
Yeah.
that.
I used to go with patio pounder, but I guess it's
That's
too
so
cold
funny.
outside now to be
Yeah,
on the
you gotta
patio.
go with
So
the couch,
couch
yeah.
wine is.
This time of year, I'm normally into Pinot Noir, and Rocky's always like, are we going to try something else tonight? And I'm like, let's just do Pinot Noir. This is something I feel like can expand me out of that this time of year.
Sure.
It's still a little bit lighter, but it's heavier than a Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
It's perfect for the fall. And
Now,
this is
Rocky's
definitely
in
a couch
Boston right
wine.
now, correct?
He is in Boston.
Is he going to
I
surprise
think.
us with any wine selections in his trip back? Or,
Probably not.
So the North House is hosting the event again this year, I believe, right?
They are. So this is our 4th annual Norcom Cares wine and beer tasting auction. And 2 of the years, this will be the 2nd year we're hosting it at the North House. So it's going to be February 6th from 6 to 9. And it's such a fun evening.
It
We
is.
have tons of great wines to taste. We have several local craft beers. And in addition, we have games, raffles,
You're doing the
prizes.
wine pull again, too,
We're
also?
doing
That
the
was a
wine
lot of
pull.
fun.
That's fun. We're doing the bottle toss. So you toss a ring and
always
try
a
to
hit.
get it
I
around
heard
the
that's
bottle.
Always a
rigged.
hit.
It's not rigged. It's
It's all
not
about the skill.
rigged.
It's all about the toss.
So it's just a lot of fun.
And
Yeah.
people can go online and look this event up and I think it's ahead
Absolutely
of time.
on norcomcares.org, and we have ticket. You can buy your tickets right online, and come taste these great wines and.
And trust me,
have fun.
last year was a fantastic event. I was blown away by it. All the wines I think were delicious, and I'm sure Adam.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunities like this, I feel, you can go to wine tasting, you can go to wineries, you can taste wines in your own sort of journey. But like when you have the opportunity to, basically, taste the goods before you buy, that's a great, experience in itself. But in the same sense where, money is going to charity, then it's, it's always a fantastic thing to be able to say, hey, I get to drink wine and support a good cause as well.
Countries and a bigger varietal.
Yes.
Right, exactly, and get out there. Yeah, you see a lot of trends of what people are kind of drinking in the store, and there's sort of a stuck trend, that overall people are on, and this just helps you get out of that. A lot of people are hesitant to get out of their comfort zone without being able to say, even if you're like, hey, look, this is my background, kind of trust me on this journey, they kind of say, I don't know, but like here's like, here, juice is in the glass, you try it, tell me what you think, and they might go, wow, Spanish wine, I didn't even know that was like a really good thing.
That's some of the feedback that I received from last year was how many different varieties you had and how people tried wines that they had never heard of, that they had never tried before, and they were so impressed with the selection.
You find new favorites that way.
Yeah.
And what's the price point on this one, basically? Roughly the price point.
This one here is this is going to be south of $20. I want to say this is somewhere probably like in the $13 to $16 range, something like that.
Value.
Yeah,
Great
yeah.
value.
So great value. I mean, this is one of those ones I would consider like an everyday drink or
A
couch wine. Yeah, for sure. It doesn't have to be paired necessarily, but it would also go fantastically with something as well. Yeah.
Well, we have a Chilean cab coming up next, I believe, right?
We do. Yep. We have the Alcons. Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one too, because I do like Chilean wines. Just 2014.
Yep.
So a little
There's
aged.
a little bit of age to this one for sure.
Look at that dark color.
Ooh.
Oh boy. Oh, it gets me excited.
So this is probably one of the more, this is like one of the younger producers that we have. Not younger, but in terms of how long this winery's been around, I want to say since the 90s. In terms of some of these other guys that have been around for quite some time.
Sometimes that's good though. They take chances. They can be a little.
Yeah,
bit
for
more-
sure. I mean, that's the great thing about the world of wine is there's value and quality in very old producers who have been doing something consistently over generations and generations. And then when you see kind of some younger wineries that are sort of, pushing the bounds and seeing what they can do and sort of
Every
new
wine
ideas.
was young once.
That's right. Wow, this one has some really great aromatics
Yeah.
for sure. It's a great
Is
note.
this 100% cab?
This is, I want to say it's like 90 or 95% cab.
That's what you call a little sucking the moisture.
Is it
out.
gonna
Right.
is it gonna dry my mouth out?
That's why I love that.
I'm
too.
already looking at it knowing it's a lip stainer.
That's a cheese wine right there.
This has like
yeah.
some really great ripe, black and red fruit.
Cherries.
Yeah, for sure. This is really a really stellar wine for sure.
Yeah, this is one of those wines, like I said, which is why I tend to like cabs in general, but this one in particular, it just in your mouth, it just sucks that moisture.
Yeah.
But you're still left with that flavor, which is why it'd be great to pair with different types of cheese and stuff like that, especially.
And
It's
this,
powerful, but it's
Dissipates
well
quickly.
integrated with the tannins.
this is another good example of a wine from a place that people are, I don't want to say hesitant to go to, but like aren't really thinking about when they come into the store, or when they're just shopping for wines. It's Chile produces some really fantastic cabs, Sauvignon Blancs and Carmenères. We had I'm not sure if you were in there for that tasting that we did with the Balduzzi.
Yes,
the
we
2012.
bought a bottle.
Yeah, I mean, it was really stellar stuff that's going on, but people are sort of like, hey, what's the feedback that I'm receiving from advertising and things like that, and it's like, hey, just come on in, we'll take you on the journey to these different places for
And
sure.
I got to say, I've been doing this show for almost 9 years, and prior to that, I loved wine. And you really have to expand your horizons to try different wines. A lot of people are very stubborn. They don't want to I'm not going to drink anything but California cabs. And you're making a mistake by that, because there
Yeah.
really are. There's so many delicious varietals from different countries. If you just tried, I'm telling you, you probably would end up liking them. So you shouldn't narrow yourself down to just.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, and especially now we have the climate change is a very real thing, and that impacts viticulture very much. So when you start to think about these old school regions of continue to produce these excellent wines, which they are, it's also opening up other regions or creating regions that were maybe not necessarily as dominating on the market. They're producing more and more good vintages where it's like, oh yeah, that one region, they might have had a good one or two vintages over the past 100 years. Now they're kind of back to
So
back.
climate change can have a positive role.
Right, yeah, in the world of
So
wine.
you can always look at some positive.
I'm sure some winemakers might be thinking differently about that, but yeah,
Depending,
for the consumer, yeah, sure, I could argue that.
That's really good to know. And this price point on this one is still in the same range?
Yeah, this is in the same range. I want to say this is probably around $20 or something like that, yeah, for sure. So let's move down here into the Born of Fire.
Now
I
we're
like
gonna
that
have-
label.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
label is very
The
cool,
white
yeah.
wrappers
It's like a
that come
tattoo.
jumping out of that bottle.
It does look a little bit like a tattoo,
Yes,
right?
it
Does.
This looks darker than the last one. Is that
So-
possible?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. The
Maybe
fruit could
it's
be a little
good.
more concentrated in this one here. So this is one of Chateau Saint Michel's, which I'm not sure if you guys are familiar or not. A pretty popular producer up
Yes.
in Washington. Once again, Washington, another really, really fantastic area that, like you said, people are always driven towards California, and I have nothing against California. I think there's some fantastic wines coming out of California, but there's other states in the U.S. that are producing really killer wines, and Washington's one of those states, specifically for things like Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon.
So this is where I always get a little like flustered speaking up, because sometimes what I smell in wine, Rocky doesn't smell. This, I smell vanilla immediately.
Sure, I can get
Do
that.
you get that?
Vanilla,
I get
a little
that.
bit of baking spice in there.
Yep.
This is another one of those wines that's very temperate. There's not a lot of mouth bursting of flavor at first. It sort of it dissipates quickly, I think, on the palate.
I feel like as soon as I drink it, I get like pepper on my mouth.
There is a little pepper. I did get the vanilla that you're talking about, too.
Definitely.
But this is actually very interesting, and a very interesting red.
I like this better than
Yeah.
California Cabernets, for sure.
Yeah, the other cool thing about this wine, so this is a Columbia Valley wine, but they're actually in the process right now. It's pending approval for this wine to actually gain its own AVA, American Viticultural Area, in Columbia Valley, which is the proposed name is the Burn of Columbia Valley. So the Burn is it's a specific region. So if you think about like the north coast of California, you have Napa and you have Sonoma. Columbia Valley is kind of trying to bring this a more specified area here of the Burn, which is right by the Columbia River, which is where this is grown.
And I've always been curious about this. I used to know this, but I've forgotten. The climate for where most of the good Washington wines come from, it's distinctly different than California, correct? I mean, so
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah. You're further north. You're getting cooler summers. Yeah, everything is very much different, depending. You know what I mean? Some parts of California, when you start to get into the conversation of microclimates, things can change a little bit. Some people think necessarily that the further you go in Napa, you'll be cooler, when in fact it's quite the opposite. The more southern you go, because of the winds and the mist that comes off of the water, then it kind of cools it down in southern Napa.
oh, that was delicious.
Yeah, it's
I
nice
like
stuff,
it.
right?
I
Yeah.
gotta say, if this is an example of what people have in store for them at the event, then they're not going to be disappointed, because everything here, I think, would meet everybody's palate in regards to what they like from
Absolutely.
wine. So, and the price point on this one, Al?
This one here, I want to say is also around like $20. This might be just a little bit over $20. Be $23 probably, something like that.
That's well worth it.
Yeah.
Now, you guys at the Bottle Shop, do you do tastings also in the store?
So we do tons of events, and we're a very event-driven organization, as you can tell. We're working with Norcom, but we work with all sorts of other organizations doing events outside of the store, putting on wine tastings like this. We support wine pairings with restaurants in the
That's big
Farmington
now, too.
Valley.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
for sure. And we do what we call wine tours in the store, where at least once a month we will have a layout of wines. We'll have a distributor come in, and we'll have a theme to it. So actually, just last night we did our Napa Valley tasting with our friends over at Slocum & Sons, and basically it's like $25. You come into the store and you get to try 8 wines. You go home with 1 or 2 bottles depending upon the region. Some regions are a little bit more command a higher price point, so sometimes we can only send you home with 1. You get some snacks throughout that, and it's like, what a better way to spend a Wednesday night.
It's one of my
It's one of her
favorite
favorites.
events. I try to make all of them now. I missed the one last night, but I love those events. You always walk away learning many new things.
For sure.
Tasting so many wines.
And it's not overly
you
expensive,
have a
so-
bottle.
Yeah, I mean, you think
Yeah.
about $25. you get to taste through 8 wines, and you get to leave with I mean, you're not breaking the bank with anything here. And we actually structure that. So, I mean, we don't really, make anything off the ticket sales. That all goes into the wine that you take home with you and the food that's there and everything. We're just there to educate, because more educated wine consumers become better wine buyers in what they're looking for.
And you said you've done some pairings at some restaurants in the area too.
Yeah, we've done stuff with the North House before.
Have you done Bon Appetito?
I don't know if we haven't done Bon Appetito since I've been there. I've heard a lot about that. People coming in the store saying they're going there. And is that the one that's BYOB that's there?
Yeah. But they do wine tastings. I think they've had wine tastings.
Yeah, we'll have to reach out to them and link up and try and set something together.
Very popular place.
But if it's not for an event that you're at the store at, we always have at least 4 bottles open throughout the week that you could just come in at any time and say, hey, I want to try, see whatever you got there. And that, we put that together. Basically just saying, hey, this is some new stuff that might get the consumer excited, and often on Fridays and Saturday nights, we'll be in there just kind of talking about wine. That's really what it's all about, you know what I mean? Everything's subjective, and you say, hey, this is what I think. And
well, I know one thing that's not subjective. I was giddy and happy when I saw that Lambrusco come in. So I've been in the Lambrusco bubbly mood for quite some time.
Well,
so we had this he had it on the last show. It was the one that we bought a couple of bottles of. The
Vecchi, I think it was the Vecchi Vendetta,
yeah. So I'm excited to try a different
Sure. So this is a totally different style of that specific wine. And Lambrusco is a pretty fantastic wine for sure.
I love them. It's very celebratory and kind of fun and different.
And so much better than it used to be back in the day. I mean, it's come such a long way. And the Lambrusco Sparkling, I've just been a fan of for the last several years. I really love it.
That is definitely bolder than the other one.
It is.
It hits you.
It does.
It's delicious. The other one's a little more, the one you had on the last show is a little more like light, and I'd put it almost like a champagne, which is what they did. They were doing that for like a bubble show. This is a little more structured. Like I would almost put this
has
with a
some
meal.
body. This has some tannins
spice
to it.
Yeah.
Yep.
This is extremely food friendly on the higher end. This is like you want to sit down. I mean, like this is like I could sit down and just eat like cured meats and big rich cheeses. All night with this, and then be happy. Like that's my meal for the night.
Yeah, Lambrusco, the good quality ones that are available now, like this one, the ability to just sit and drink and eat with this particular varietal, you can go all night with this thing. It's just that good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can eventually get so fat you'll probably have to retire.
Yeah, no, for sure.
This is just delicious to me, whether it's celebratory or just eating food with. It's just, I love Lambrusco, and I love the Sparkling Lambrusco. And this is another example of how you can't go wrong buying a Lambrusco.
Also, something else, it's one of those things, constantly trying to educate consumers. It's like everybody, like you said, the celebratory aspect. I try to get people outside of that. We tend to be drawn towards sparkling wines for celebration, and I think that they're deserving of more than that, because they're so fruit friendly, and they can pair with, as an aperitif, some appetizers, or even be rich enough to even go with like a meal for dinner. You know what I mean? We in the U.S. we tend to just pop it when it's like, hey, so and so got into college. Let's pop a bottle of this. Where it's like, no way, man. It's Tuesday night. We're having like a good dinner, and this is what works with the meal. Let's open it up.
We just went down to Tennessee for Rocky's annual Christmas party, and we had dinner at a wine bar, and we ordered a bottle of bubbles to go with our dinner. And they looked at us like our head was on backwards, but it was perfect.
So I got to ask you, Adam, and even you, Sandy, are you still proposing that we drink bubbles in a regular wine glass? Do you think that's the way to go for a quality one? Because I know they're trying to get away from the flutes.
You seem to have an opinion on that. I feel like I should hold back.
I like the flutes for the
look.
Yes, the aesthetics. It's very pretty, and you saw what my friend Essie did, where she puts a couple drops of like color in there, and it just goes to the bottom of the glass, and it's just beautiful. But I feel like I get more out of a real wine glass. I get more aroma. I get more flavor.
Traditionally, they were served in a larger flute.
Yeah, so 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. I totally think when people come to my house, I don't own any flutes. Friends are constantly like, oh, you know, what kind of glasses should I drink it in? Is it okay to drink it in this? I encourage it. A nice white wine glass, or you know, whatever glass you may have. You know, if you only have one standard kind of serving glass, absolutely. Sparkling wine has aromatics just like anything else, and you know, wine can be expensive to a certain extent, and if you're paying the money for that, you should be able to appreciate everything that has to offer, and don't close yourself off to this small little nose, thinking to yourself, well, if I don't put it in a flute glass, then the bubbles go away too fast. My response to that is, you know, if your bubbles are going away, then you're not drinking fast enough.
And the only negative, Adam, I'll say is when you use regular wine glasses, the pores are bigger.
Right.
And unfortunately, the bottle gets empty faster.
Sure.
People expect more in that glass
Right.
when you fill it up.
I guess I'm the odd man out because I love a good flute. So, you know, I just think it's a fun way to
Sure.
drink.
So I guess my response to that would be, with some of the, I guess, I don't want to say lesser quality, but some of the more value sparkling wines, throw it in the flute. But when you're throwing some money down and you're getting a really fantastic quality sparkling wine, I think absolutely enjoy it in a white wine glass, something that will allow you to really take in the full expression of that wine.
Completely agree. So believe it or not, we only got a couple minutes left in the show. And Adam and Sheli, if you want to talk anything more about the event, if anything else people want to know about, other than going online and looking up. Is there a limit of how many people can buy tickets? Or do you know what?
No limit. The more the merrier. It's just a fun night. And I just want to say we're really excited to all of the proceeds raised that evening 100% of the proceeds go directly to the charities, organizations, foundations we support. And it really gives us an opportunity to work with some great businesses in the area like Bottle Stop, North House. So we really value the partnership we have with you guys.
And two guys will be donating an item for the auction also. So
Yep.
Oh, that's
we look
great.
forward to that also. So,
Great.
Adam, anything coming up at
Yeah, I say, you know, to that same extent, you know, we all know we're going to buy wine no matter what. So why not take advantage of this opportunity to pick out your next bottle or your next case or whatever it's going to be and support a great organization in the same meantime.
Couldn't agree more. Sandy, I want to thank you for sitting in for Rocky. You did a great job.
No problem.
Shelley, I want to thank you also for being on.
Thank you
Adam,
for having me.
Looking forward to the event.
Absolutely.
And all of you who are watching this show, please look online, check out the event, buy tickets, come, talk with us, have a good time, and enjoy. So until next time, I'm Bobby P.
I'm Sandy Holland, in for Rocky Holland.
And keep all of us in your wine cellar.